का था, वरना आप मेरी लरजती हुई कांपती हुई टांगे देखते. So thank you, Cas, for having a wooden rose from here. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. President, Center of Aerospace and Security Studies, Marshal Faaiz Amir, General Zubair Mahmood Hayat. Ladies and gentlemen, my gratitude to Cas for the invitation to participate in today's discussion. My topic, impact of disruptive technologies on future wars in South Asia, needs a new focus. I say so because when we discuss South Asia, we should bear in mind that the strongest military power in South Asia is not an Asian power, but with its fleets and bases in the region, it is American power. This is an important consideration because US-India Global Strategic Partnership, underpinned by the three US-Indian military agreements, LIMOA, COMCASA and BECA, make US a party to conflicts in the region. Hence, US technological and material assistance to India, whether it is logistics, secure communications, or geospatial services, would impact any war in South Asia. Here I would draw some parallels with US assistance to Ukraine in the ongoing war. Since a future war in South Asia could be between India and China, so that makes China also a serious stakeholder in South Asia. My point here is that at this moment in history, South Asia is overcrowded, rather claustrophobic, when we consider the convergence of interests of three major powers in a finite geographical area called subcontinent. So to focus the scope of my discussion, I would title my talk as Impact of Disruptive Technologies on Wars that Involve Pakistan. You may have noticed that I have not selected the abstract time frame future, because for me, in the age of internet, we are in a perpetual state of war. It is a chaotic world where actual war in many ways, as General Zubair said, is about information dominance. As we talk of impact of disruptive technologies on war, we should keep in mind that no technology has shaped war and will continue to shape war as much as the existence of nuclear arsenals in South Asia. Our relations with both India and USA are shaped by our nuclear capability. Back in February 2019, India did try to find a window for limited operations, but it found, to its dismay, that the misadventure rapidly escalated and had to be abandoned. Similarly, our transactional relationship with US has largely been about Afghanistan, but the long-term engagement between the two of us is governed by the superpowers' concern, not about nuclear weapons in the region, but about nuclear weapons in Pakistan only. This non-acceptance of Pakistan's capability continues to have consequences for Pakistan. With this geopolitical background in mind, ladies and gentlemen, when we look across the canvas of developing technologies, we find that it is convergence between technologies that makes them potentially more disruptive. It is convergence between artificial intelligence and robotics that create lethal autonomous weapons. It is artificial intelligence convergence with big data, cybersecurity, and electronic warfare that has started to shape wars, as is evident in more than one ways in Ukraine war. I shall discuss the Ukraine war a little down the lane. Ladies and gentlemen, New America Foundation in 2014, in a study called Blurred Lines, stressed that technological drivers of warfare have erased the boundaries between what was traditionally regarded as war and peace, military and civilian, between public and private, and between national and international, I unquote. Concealed in these blurred lines of war and peace, called the gray zone, are the coercive statecraft activities that remain below the threshold of a formal declared war. An Australian government study concluded that grey zone campaigns are cumulative and can cause targets to lose without fighting. These range of grey zone activities include coercive economic actions, cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, assassinations, and other influence operations like supporting insurgencies in a target country. These all being an old bag of tricks. It is the central role that new technologies play that needs to be understood for defending against these campaigns. As mentioned earlier, AI as deep learning is enabling increasingly realistic photo, audio, and video digital forgeries, popularly known as deepfakes. Using deepfake technology, social media and botnets amplify a message or narrative to foment discord and confusion in the target audience. Experts observe that grey zone activities are more pronounced and effective in large urban centers, especially in the megacities where large communities live in slum-like areas, and youth is easily radicalized through social media platforms, as was the case in color revolutions and Arab Spring. According to the Bureau of Statistics of Pakistan 2017 census, Pakistan has around 100 cities with population more than 100,000 people. Two of these are classified as mega cities with population more than 10 million people, Karachi with 15 million and Lahore with 11 million. Pakistan finds itself in the midst of one such comprehensive campaign that includes economic pressures, supports subversive activities by non-state actors, and generates false news reports to influence public discourse, erode public trust, and attempt to blackmail government officials. Coming to more conventional aspects of war, I find some features of war in Ukraine relevant because technologies used confirm trends in the warfare. In Ukraine war, cyber warfare has emerged as a key enabler of the war. Cyber activities include neutralization of command and control centers in the field, network disruptions, website hackings, and intense jamming of GPS of Ukrainian drones, which are used to locate the Russian troops and tanks to direct artillery fire. Russia has moved its heavy jamming equipment close to battlefield in Donbas region and is shaping the war by disrupting command and control of Ukrainian forces. Russia has used T-72 tanks, cruise missiles, multiple rocket launchers, systems, and air power to gradually but consistently force its way through Ukrainian defenses. On the other hand, Ukraine claims to have stalled Russian offensive largely using NATO-supplied intelligence information, Javelin anti-tank missiles, and Stinger anti-aircraft missiles. However, the greatest help to Ukraine came from commercial satellites. Amateur civilians use commercial satellite imagery and open source intelligence to detect and verify information about Russia's military maneuvers. Working from homes and shelters, people have built apps of war. One such app people use to report the movements of Russian troops, sending location tagged videos directly to Ukrainian intelligence agencies. They have created a virtual network linking social media, smartphones, and drones. This in great part has helped Ukrainian military in cutting its losses and planning effective counteroffensives. Elon Musk's Starlink, with more than 2,200 satellites in low orbit, provide broadband internet for communication networks, which Russians find hard to jam. Additionally, NATO satellites and surveillance aircraft help in keeping vigil on Russian forces. It is widely believed that private satellites are transforming the character of modern conflict. Extensive use of space has become crucial to modern warfare and that no military should expect to win a battle without support from space. Drones are being used to capture enormous data sets for analysis by artificial intelligence and using that for precision targeting. Surprisingly, it includes pinpointing the location of soldiers or civilians by heat maps, digital signals, and media posts. Drones are also shaping the perception of war by recording and sharing videos of Russian losses as well as Ukraine's civilian casualties during the war. In overall analysis, so far, the drones with a high attrition rate have emerged as a war-enabling machine and not as a war-winning machine. I don't intend to leave the impression that the Ukrainian war is all about cyber warfare, commercial satellites, and drones. These all enable an environment where battles of tanks and artillery rage, in which both sides exchange heavy fire as they fight over small amounts of territory. I see drone as part of evolution of air warfare, whose fundamental principle remains to avoid exposure to enemy fire. Current generation of drones remain vulnerable to electronic warfare and air defense systems, and therefore are unlikely to shift the operational balance towards the offensive side. They are also unlikely to cancel existing military asymmetries because they require support from expensive and complex military assets as well as highly trained personnel. Currently, only rich and militarily powerful states can use drones effectively in military operations. In India-Pakistan context, I see drones almost in missions similar to Ukraine, that is data collection, reconnaissance, directing artillery fire, and making videos of battles to shape public perceptions. Additionally, drones could also be used against tanks and air defense assets in spoofing, jamming, and kill roles. Elsewhere, small commercial drones in the hands of non-state actors could create huge problems for military planners, personnel, and installations. Cyber warfare could emerge as a greater threat to Pakistan, both in peace and war. Here, Indian advantage resides in its access to American, Israeli, and Russian equipment. India-US Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement, signed in 2020, enables supply of high-end equipment as well as real-time intelligence and information. Similarly, Russia, which has been India's largest supplier of arms in the last decade, would make available its electronic and cyber warfare equipment, especially for India's firm stance India's firm stance on war in Ukraine. In cyber war, Pakistan could face denial of service in one or more of the fiber optic undersea cables, which would highly undermine the functionality of our computer systems.